Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today you can see that I'm out of the studio, I've made it out of the house into the real world with real people. And you might recognize the iconic stage behind me. I am at the amazing venue of Sognage. But today we're here for something completely different. As you see with the title of the video today, we are watching a tabletop game of Warhammer go on behind me. If you can see behind me, we're gonna go and explore now. But basically, this is a community and a group of people that get together and play these tabletop games. And if you're like me and didn't know about this, welcome, dude.
Fantasy battle game.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if that's
like
the correct terminology.
chess meets DnB,
Yeah.
but like way worse.
If you Google how does Warhammer work, Wikipedia says this. Warhammer is a tabletop wargame where 2 or more players compete against each other with armies of 25 to 250 millimeters tall heroic miniatures. The rules of the game have been published in a series of books which describe how to move miniatures around the game surface and simulate combat in a balanced and fair manner.
No, it'll be okay. It'll be okay.
Act natural, act natural. My bad.
Have I got any tomato sauce in my beard? That's more important. Okay, no, that's.
Give it a bit of a smooth down.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh,
my
okay.
god, the drama.
Cool. Check's happy.
Okay.
My name is Francois. I'm 29 years old. I, by day, run Sognage with my brother Neil, and by night, play Warhammer games with the homies.
I'm Josh. I'm a production coordinator. I'm 31 years of age, 31. Yeah, I come here on Thursday to play with the guys when I'm not with family or working on set.
Okay, love that. Thank you guys.
The first time I ever was exposed to Warhammer, I was in grade 6, and these dudes had come back from a European tour in the school that I didn't get to go on. And they all went to a Games Workshop store, and this one dude came back and he had this packet of orcs, and I was like, whoa. Got into the website, saw Necrons, saw Grey Knights, and kind of was hooked from there. And then been playing on and off, but very on the last couple of years.
Okay.
So I got it pretty much the same time. When I was 6 years old, first week in grade 1, a mate of mine stole his brother's orcs, brought them to break itself.
It was orcs, dude.
It was.
So tell me, like, what is the arc? Like, how come? Like, I'm into different tabletop games, right? So I am a D&D girly. We do that in the background. How come I never did the character arc to Warhammer, but you guys are saying that, you know, we're all the same age, but I wasn't exposed to that. So is there like you start with chess and then the chess club is like the gateway drug to Warhammer, or was it kind of just by fluke, by accident?
I had never been really exposed to D&D prior to that, so I think if I had been exposed to that, I would have gotten just into that as well. But I think my personality I was into card games and collectibles, so there was like a collectionist aspect of the hobby that really got me in, I think.
So I started, the mates who I first got the one from in grade 1 had older brothers who played Warhammer and Pokemon and all that stuff. So through them and being like a single child going into a bigger family, we just picked up all the games they did. Whereas he put them down, I just didn't let go of. He eventually put them down, I didn't let go of them.
Okay.
So my first job was in a comic book store. I played Magic the Gathering. So
Crazy.
from grade 6 to like 18, I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons and all this kind of stuff. But Warhammer was the first thing that grabbed me because of the visual aspects.
Yeah.
It was just little dudes. You know, I wanted like what's it, Indian in the Cupboard?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's a good
you
reference.
You wanted dudes on the table
Yes.
to play with. You wanted your guys and your army. So I collected small boxes, and then I was like 14 that I really started taking it seriously and playing more regularly.
So when you say taking it seriously though, does that mean that there is like a serious element to it? Because how I'm understanding is you guys are a league, right? So Legion is its own club, but there are other clubs in Josie, in the greater South Africa. So does that mean there's a South African team? Is there like worldwide tournaments?
Yeah, this is definitely
So I've been following a lot on this. I'm very big into competitive scene internationally. I do a lot of reading articles and stuff. At the moment, this next weekend is the World Team Championship in Belgium. So Africa sent a team this year. It's mostly Cape Townians because they had time and gumption to do it themselves. But like the World Team Tournament is a big-ish deal internationally, but not so much South Africa competitive.
No.
Okay.
But our league and clubs are mostly for casual play. It's to facilitate a time and space where you could actually go play. Because it takes 3 hours to play a game, you got to arrange ahead of time. So the commitment in a week is quite serious. So having a club allows it to be facilitated a lot easier. Whereas dedication-wise, it's a lot of investment because you got to buy, you got to build, you got to paint. If you're going to spend hundreds of hours building and assembling models, so you're going to still spend like dozens of hours playing on the table. It's a big commitment, even though like we don't take it seriously. We talk shit, we drink beer, we play games. Some guys take it seriously competitively, but for the most part, it's all just to facilitate this. So we invest a lot of our time and our money into it.
Yeah, I also think there's varying levels of like taking it seriously. When you say like you get really into Warhammer, that doesn't by any means you are like a serious competitive player. I think the moment you start taking Warhammer seriously is when you're like, okay, I need to paint all my models the same color. Do you know what I mean? I need to collect the same army, and that can be at like quite an infantile level. Not to say, but you can do it. You can do it when you're really young. Do you know what I mean? Just as a child. But then there's scope for how serious that bar of serious moves so high up into like a really competitive environment that's like cutthroat on Reddit all day, constantly following patch notes, just like a video game in a real sense.
Yeah, and also it draws you into many facets. Hobbying takes hours, playing takes hours, and collecting takes hours.
Do you guys then believe that the expanding of the community and this like future dreams, if people had bigger tournaments and stuff, is good, and you're pro that? Because obviously the more people that join, the better the resources.
So there's a mixed bag in the argument. I think exposure is always better. The more people, the merrier. You know, the wider the group is, the more you can play. I think after a certain point, when it gets big enough, it becomes a commercial prospect. Like it's a lot about selling miniatures and making the time and the money with the game.
Yes.
But to be fair, it's always been a very niche game full of like really odd people. The wider it gets, the more normal it gets, the more we can play in general. So it's generally better. Also, the more exposure SA gets, the more opportunities we have to compete overseas. The opportunities to buy better models over here because importing them isn't that easy sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good.
But like you guys were saying, what I'm picking up is it's good for the brand, good for SA, but at the same time, it's kind of a special thing now, and not having it just be a competitive thing is what gives it that, you know, special sauce, maybe?
Yeah, I think Josh actually put out a little poll in the WhatsApp group a couple of months ago, and he was like, so I think we ended up that we are a mostly friendly club with a semi-competitive edge, you know? Like, I think a lot of the guys in the club take it super seriously, and they want to get good at the game, and they want to make the most of the time spent and the money spent. So you learn the game, and you get good at it as best you can. And I think simultaneously, none of it is a win at all costs environment. So we stride a fine line between that, and I think that's really healthy for us.
I get that sense when you come to these game nights. It's more of a sense of camaraderie than it is competition, but there is still respect for the game, respect for the hours and the research and the money that goes into having your own campaign and having your own army. So you still kind of want a worthy competitor, but it definitely isn't a gym where it's like, win at all costs, I will slay you, you know, vibes. It's much more companionship and games, which is cool. Building the painting. Some people are more into the strat side of it.
Absolutely.
Other people are more just into the gameplay side of it, or like the community side of it.
Correct.
Yeah,
And
and I think there's like a return on investment equilibrium as well, that if you're only into competitive, as soon as your thing isn't competitive or isn't meta anymore, you can lose a facet of your enjoyment of it. So the more avenues of which you're thoroughly invested in the hobby, there's a bigger return on investment, or like how much value you get out of the money you spend, time spent, you know.
People spent as well. You make good connections, you meet people from different languages as you. It's like it's good returns for sure.
Do you see the same type of people playing Warhammer, or is it like every cut from every cloth kind of a person?
Oh, bro, so cut from every cloth.
Some degree.
I think in our club especially.
No, okay, most clubs in the variety of personalities you have, you'll get a wide variety from like barely functioning people on the spectrum to people who are super high functioning corporate lawyers to like randos, other bush. You get a wide variety of people in the hobby. But that being said, it is very niched into a certain demographic, economically speaking. You know, not everyone wants to drop like 10 grand in an army and then pick up the like hours and hours time in a week to play when you could be doing other stuff to make a living. Also the reach is not very far. I think the language barrier to the amount of books you got to read and the amount of effort you got to put in researching blocks a lot of people who just want to take it casually out of it.
Okay, so
while personalities are wide and diverse, the subset itself isn't super wide. It isn't very widespread.
No.
There's needs. There's essentially like requirements and able to like fully enjoy the game. So that does cut down your pool of people.
Absolutely.
And exposure, you know.
Yeah. Even just like your access to free time. I think like you have to, just to get a small army on the table is a huge time investment, like we said. So being able to get that free time and commit to it over a long spectrum of time as well.
I really appreciate this point of view, actually. I think what the guys are basically saying is like I said, you need a lot of free time to be able to participate, but you also need to be able to engage in the language that the books and the armies and all of these things come out in, as well as have a bit of understanding in terms of the strategy and painting and modeling and participate, like getting to these actual things and that kinds of stuff. So in that sense, there are kind of requirements in participating, but at the same time, the benefits that come with something like this could be really great for things like social understanding, mixing, networking, and all of those kinds of things that come with social play, if you want to put it that way. What do I need? What do I buy? Like basic set, what do I need to come to? There you go. So it's another expensive hobby that you're going to start. Great, love that for you.
So there are like starter sets where you can get like a collection of models. Sometimes it's 2 factions. You could go in with a friend and maybe buy a box that has 2 different armies and you guys can play together. But then you also need paints, paintbrushes, what else? Dice, obviously.
A lot of free time.
Because these
Again.
models come on what they call sprues. So all the plastic parts are laid out flat. You've got to clip them off the sprue and then glue them all together.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they do release their own models, and then they re-release every now and then, a couple of years. New sculpts, more modern sculpts. Obviously, the tech gets a bit better so that they can actually put a lot more detail into the models. I mean, they used to have metal models, which were probably the highest detail we could get at the time, and then they somehow, look, again, been out of it for a bit, and then I came back, and now all the plastic models have such high def detail, it's amazing.
I think the company that makes the game has done pretty well in like creating facilities and like tutorial modes or that kind of thing. You could comparable. Combat Patrol is pretty good, but I think the best way to do it is to just talk to people about the hobby. And I think the amount of resources on the internet since the pandemic and the lockdown has exploded.
Since we were kids, man, like, you used to get a White Dwarf magazine once every 2 months and try and fathom out a painted green on a model. Now you have hours of stuff.
Yeah, it's just an indomitable wall of content to consume.
Just out of all of it, enjoy the painting, something nice to do, like solitary. And also it's nice to come and just hang out and play some games as well. It's a nice little mix of all of it.
Bystander point of view, the models, the figurines, the set pieces that they have, to me, are like the most fascinating part of it from the outside. Obviously, if you don't understand how the game and the mechanics work, you kind of just stand there and they're making moves and rolling dice and yelling every now and again. But the set pieces really do stand out as super cool, super interesting to look at, so intricate. The detail is mind-blowing. The different levels that these guys go to paint is actually kind of unbelievable that laymen are doing these kinds of things. Plus, the set pieces to me personally were stand out. I mean, you get some of them that have the cutty-out thingies that we spoke about earlier, but then you have other ones where it's like a stained glass window and other dope things that literally look like miniature worlds. So even if you're just attending one of these things as a bystander, I still think you're going to benefit out of the absolute, like, astronomical amount of effort that goes into these things. And if you manage to pick up some game mechanics on the way, what a win-win situation. Line of fire, line of sight, same thing.
You've given me enough space for me to put 5 dudes along the edge.
Oh no, rookie era.
Got a Facebook page?
We've got a Facebook page, which is Legion ZA. It'll be here or something, I assume. It'll be here.
We're taking a quick links below.
That's the first time I've ever done that. Yeah, that's good.
Was it fun? Did you have fun?
No, I'm good. Yeah.
There is a WhatsApp group, so it says the details, but yeah, easy as that. Say what game you want to play, throw it on there, people are interested in playing, make a little group and get everyone.
You know what, I'm gonna carry on actually without the light, because I just basically want to ask you, like, what I'm understanding what you're saying about that is, I am not super involved in the cosplay community, for example, but I love the cosplay community, really appreciate it. Like, someone those cringy things on the sideline. And what I'm kind of hearing you say is people think it's cringe, but it's not. And like there are weird special people here, but that's what gives it its superpower.
Yeah,
is
exactly. Very true. The D&D for a long time had the same misconception about people being very nerdy and playing it, but it just took breaking through to a wider audience. People see it's really enjoyable.
Yeah.
And 40k is very similar. It's a big investment which stops normal. Like anyone can play D&D with paper and dice, but the more people that play it, the less the perception will be, more will be dispelled. You know?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think the term nerd has also gone through a bit of a metamorphosis.
Yes.
It's not just like
It's in vogue.
pasty dudes
Yeah.
with like
No.
fucking back acne play. You know what I'm saying? Like it's cool to be a nerd now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Big dudes with back acne are part of normal society. As well.
exactly.
Yeah, they're just human beings. Yes.
Don't start Warhammer.
Hey guys, okay, so this was us spending some time at Sognage, getting to know the guys from the Legion Club, which play Warhammer 4K. Hope I'm saying that correctly. So I hope that you guys maybe learned something new. I really appreciate you guys joining. Of course, as always, subscribe to the channel if you want to hear more about weird and wonderful things going on in the alternative community in South Africa. I am so glad that they welcome me with open arms. Sweetest guys ever. Thank you guys so much to the Legion crew and all of the guys for being just so sweet and welcoming me and answering all my questions, and like even though they were probably kind of stupid and awkward. So I really appreciate that. We'll definitely be coming back. I know it does get busier. Some of the guys say to me, as Murphy's Law works, that there's usually more people that come and play, and there's sometimes other people that play other tabletop games like Catan and probably D&D here and there, and probably some other board games. So we will definitely be back to review that and check that out. And if you guys are interested, all of the links will be below to come and join them. For any other info, we are going to be sharing things on Instagram in terms of events that are happening. So if you want to get involved, please just check out those socials. And thank you guys for watching. We'll be back.
Okay, it's not going well in case you can't tell.
Great. Good to know. I couldn't tell.
These guys now gets to meet